Black Benji. So it's the dance crew that I'm with.
All right. Yeah, you're just gonna have to turn it. All right. So, hey, everybody. Welcome to another installment for debutmediamembers.com. Um, Today, I have the privilege and honor and full disclosure, of interviewing a family member, my brother, who's a premier dancer, choreographer, a dance manager of a premier amazing dance school out in Sweden, over in Europe, and I'm just so excited to have him here. So I just wanted to say hello, everybody. My name is Mark Moore, as you know, um, and his name is Shannon Laresh, aka Jackhammer. All
Yeah,
right, what's up, Jackhammer? How you doing, man?
I'm all right. I'm all right. It's a long day, but I'm good.
A long day. So wait, where are you right now?
I am in Malmö, Sweden.
Malmö, Sweden. So that would be in Europe, yeah?
Yep, all the way out in Europe.
You know, for some of us slow ones, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Sweden is not Switzerland. It is Sweden. It is its own country. It is next to Denmark and Norway, and just across the sea from Finland.
Wow. Now, how long you been out there now?
I've been out here for almost 2.5 years now.
2.5 years. And your primary role in Sweden, like, what are you doing out there?
I am a dance teacher, bringing authentic street styles here in Sweden, and now I also am the managing director slash owner of a dance school here,
And the name of the dance school?
Passion Dance Studio.
Passion Dance Studio. I'm just gonna make sure that everybody can see the website here for Passion Dance Studio. And what's the actual link website address?
PassionDanceStudio.se.
PassionDanceStudio.se. And that's all one word, no hyphens, anything like that.
One word, no hyphen.
Okay, I'm looking at it, and it's primarily written in Swedish. Obviously, it was created over there.
Yeah,
But I suppose with Google and everything else, it's easily translatable,
yeah.
right? All right, cool.
Really easy. You just copy and paste it and put it in Google Translate, and it'll. Or if you're using Google Chrome, then you can just click the translate button on the bottom, and it'll translate it for you.
Outstanding. So listen, everybody who's watching this video, who comes to check this out, check out the website. I think it's outstanding. He's working with some amazing kids there, and I suppose some adults as well, or is it mostly kids?
Oh, we have all ages. Kids classes that are focused just for kids, and then we have classes that are from ages 13 and up.
Right.
So from 13 to 99.
Oh wow. Okay, so you do get the whole thing. And so now, what styles of dance are you teaching primarily?
Right now we have hip hop, house, popping. What else do we have? We have jazz, contemporary, ballet, all starting next semester,
Oh wow.
for kids and adults,
Okay.
and locking and whacking and belly dance
Yep.
and acrobatics, kind of not really a dance style, but it's acrobatics as well.
Okay, okay. So you got the whole gamut going, a full range of styles. So now we'll come back to that. We'll talk a lot more about your dance studio and what you're doing, and we can talk about
Okay.
showcasing what you have going on in the future. Well, let's let the world know a little bit about you. I know you've been dancing all your life, right? Um,
Yeah.
so since you're not a woman, I suppose I can ask you your age.
Yes. Yeah. I'm 35 years old. I've been dancing since probably before I could walk, but officially actually training in dance
Yeah,
since 2002.
2002. Okay. And when you weren't doing that in Europe, were you? Where were you when you first started? Where were you?
Was in New York. I mean, I was always dancing at parties and doing stuff in high school, but it was in college in
Hmm.
Newburgh, New York,
Okay.
with my step team and dance crew out there that we started to dance for real.
Oh, okay. So you were really going at it at that point in college. So now, so
Yeah,
you're born and raised in New York, right? New York, New York, New York, right? New York City.
Upper West Side of New York.
All right. Would you characterize New York City as one of the like the heart or one of the hearts of dance, especially urban styles in the world?
Absolutely. New York is pretty much, as far as it comes to street style, like urban dance styles,
Sure.
hip hop, house, break dance. It is pretty much the mecca of those dances. All of them, not all of them, but most of them have started there. Hip hop itself started there. So yeah, absolutely. The raw, authentic form of those dances will definitely be found there.
Wow. Okay. And now, do you have a primary style that you do yourself, or is it? Do you have like a? Are you pretty eclectic?
I'm pretty eclectic. I'll say my two favorite is house and hip hop,
Hmm.
and stepping. It's another thing I also teach in my school. Is stepping.
Oh wow. Well, yeah, that's right. Because you did say you were doing that in college, right? So when you were doing that in college, you were like what the step captain or something like that. Was that is that what it's called or?
Yeah, I was a captain of my step team as well as the president of my step team.
All right. All right. So yeah, it's definitely in your blood then, huh? So now when
Yeah.
you so during while you're been since you've been dancing, what were some of your influences? Like what motivated you, inspired you uh, to continue doing it, and then eventually to go pro?
Actually, it was like when I had my dance crew in my college.
Mhm.
That was just for fun. I was still focusing on getting my degree and all these other things.
Right.
But it wasn't until after I actually auditioned for So You Think You Can Dance
All
when I
right.
realized how big this dance world really is, and it made me way more hungry for it to get better.
Right. Right. Okay. So all right. So then so that really was your first foray into getting into a pro. What really motivated you was when you decided to go for that audition.
Yeah,
How
and
how was that though? Like you, because so you think you can dance is primarily contemporary like classical arts, right? Is it or is it pretty
no, they
mixed?
have a lot of street now. Although when I auditioned for it, it was only season two, so it had only been around for one season.
Right.
I auditioned for season two, and there was from season one there was one dancer who was like a serious street dancer. I remember his name was Jamal,
Mm.
and he made it all the way to third place. So I figured, hey, why
Yeah.
not? And then there was a lot more street dancers that auditioned for the second audition,
Right.
and there were
Right.
amazing dancers there. So it really inspired me to get to a higher level, and actually train hard and take classes and so on.
Okay. So you know you primarily focused on yourself as a dancer in the beginning here
Yeah.
in New York, and then was that the same when you went over to Europe? Like what brought you to Europe then?
After I've been training and taking classes and working, and eventually I started teaching in New York, I started to make a lot of connections. I started making friends with people from all over the country, because not all over the country, all over the world,
Mm.
because people come to New York to train and dance.
Right.
Uh, and then I made friends from Finland, and then they wanted me to come out there and do a workshop out there, and I did it, and I loved it. And apparently they liked me, so I kept going back there.
Okay.
So eventually I ended up teaching there for a year, and then somehow ended up in Sweden for 2.5 years after that.
Huh. Now, so you said Finland. You've been to Finland teaching there, and you now you're in Sweden. Any other
Yeah.
countries? You've been anywhere else doing it
Um,
with your dance?
Short term, yeah, I've been in Greece. I've been in where else have I been? Italy, and Chile. I've
Oh
actually
wow.
taught there too.
Okay. Wow. So you've been all over the
Yeah, so
place.
it's
And now, so you've done a lot of performances, and you've done a lot of teaching.
yeah,
I've heard, right? So a lot of performing, a lot of teaching, a lot of just going out socially, right? Clubs and stuff like that, right? Any
yeah, absolutely.
competitions? Is there is that big in your world, or is it?
Yeah, absolutely. The underground, so to speak, side of dance is where I really found my niche, so to speak. I did the commercial thing for a little while, but then as far as actual competitions, battles
Yeah.
are concerned, yeah, I've done big battles like Just a Boo. I've done. I was a winner in Funkin' Styles in Finland
Mm-hmm.
back in 2012. Yeah, and I've done like smaller battles and bigger battles
Mm.
since then. Since I really got into dance, I've been battling.
Wow. So now these battles, they sound even though they're I guess they're underground, they sound pretty big.
Yeah, some of them are way bigger than others. Like Just a Boo is like so to speak, like the Olympics
Huh.
in street dance. It's huge. It's an international dance competition,
Right.
and when you win in your selected area,
Hmm.
then you go to the finals to compete in France. So
Wow.
it's a really big thing. Yeah, the best dancers in the world go to this thing.
So is it more about, do you win? Is it cash prizes? Is it trophies, plaques, or is it primarily bragging rights?
Primarily, it's bragging rights. I honestly don't even know what the final winner when you win in France.
Yeah.
It's but no, from what I know, for the most part, it's primarily bragging rights. They don't even really post stuff with the winning prizes. It's just saying I won.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you get a plaque, of course, and I think you get a little bit of cash and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you get like a bunch of deals to teach out in Paris for like a year or something like that. So you get like
Hmm.
a lot of extra connections after you win.
Right. So okay, so then I guess you consider yourself an artist like any other artist, right? So if you could be as a dancer, you could be an actor, performer. So the bottom line is you're an artist. Now,
Yeah,
part of the premise of debut media members and why I'm so happy that we have this opportunity to interview you is because we it's was built by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs, and
okay.
freelancers, people who are striving to do something amazing, right? And so,
Okay.
one of the reasons why I was so excited about interviewing you and talking with you is because so you're a dancer, you're a teacher, you're an instructor, you're a competitor, um,
Hmm.
travel the world. You started in, here in New York City. You've done all these things. Would you consider yourself an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. And I have my own business out here, definitely. Even before that, just when I was struggling out in New York and teaching and
Mm.
trying to um, book gigs, do commercials and all that industrial stuff.
Mm.
Absolutely. I mean, I was in business for myself to bring myself to a higher level. So absolutely.
Yeah. So if I can just borrow what you're just talking about a little bit here. So earlier on when you were in New York teaching, right? And working hard, as you put it, struggling, getting in classes and trying to do something to make your livelihood. Did you at that time consider it from the perspective of a business, or were you primarily focused as a dancer performer trying to make it? Do you see the difference? You know what I mean?
Yes. At first, no. At first, it was just I was a dancer, just trying to do what I love doing and somehow still pay my rent. It wasn't until some time after that, maybe around 2010, 2009, when I realized, like, okay, not only am I a dancer and I'm trying to do all these things and a teacher, but I'm also a brand. So I
Right.
have to think of myself as a brand. And then that's when it started to come to mind as me as being an entrepreneur and thinking that my dance as a business as opposed to just doing something for fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Did it help in any way to start thinking of it that way, or did it matter?
It did. Absolutely. When you're just doing it just because you want to do it, for one, the respect that you have of yourself and the value that you have for yourself and your work goes up isn't as high
Right.
as opposed to when you respect it as like this is a business. I'm providing a service for other people, whatever that service may be, whether it's just I'm just making them happy or I'm helping choreograph for the show or whatever it is. That's it's still a business. It's a service,
Right.
and about as far as the money that I ask for it, as far as how I make connections with people and network with people,
Right.
that mindset and how I went about doing it completely changed.
Hmm. Okay. All right. So just changing subjects a little bit. I wanted to go back a little bit to talk about and ask you a little bit more about your school and what you're doing
Okay.
now, and share with us, man, because I know you're excited about it.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Yeah, I've been doing it for. I've done it for a year and a half now. We're ending our second, not second year, our second fall
Hmm.
semester, I should say. Um, yeah, it's been a big change. The school was previously owned by somebody else, and it was primarily a pole dance studio with a couple other classes. lot of like multiple different styles of dance, multiple ages of students coming in, and really trying to grow the student base and hit a different, more than one type of demographic.
Right.
It's not a huge school. It's a small school out in Helsingborg, Sweden, which is a smaller town than Malmö. Like Malmö is the third biggest city in Sweden, and Helsingborg is very pretty, but it's even smaller than that. So think of Helsingborg like the size of Brooklyn, and that's like all of that city. You know, again, it's very pretty. It has a beautiful beach, blah blah blah. But it's a small town, and you know, trying to bring about what the art of dance is, and not just a school. Don't think of it as just what they do a lot out here. Think of it as just like semester or something else to do. Like they treat it like it's an academic school.
Oh wow!
You know.
Okay.
So trying to bring back what the actual dance is. You know, so there's not the rivalry between schools. I'm one of 4 dance schools in this tiny city.
Okay. Wow.
So there's a lot of competition, and I'm trying to change that big time in this whole southern region of Sweden.
Right.
Because schools are always doing this and trying to take each other's students, and you know, and lose sight of that it's about dance. So that's my main thing, is reaching out to everybody and reminding them why dance is what it is. Reminding them that dance is social.
Right.
It's expression and it's art. It's not, well, I do this in my studio and my studio is better than yours and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Can I just ask you, when you talk about the art of dance, do you find that your students, does it help them that they're a part of your studio? Does it make them more disciplined when they're in school? Does it help them in school and other areas of their life, or is it, or not? What would you say?
Well, absolutely. It does. Like, for instance, I have a dance group at my school. They're like the show dance group of the school. They're the ones who sort of promote the school. They perform, they do competitions, and so on. And, you know, I always stress to them, this is something I learned from a former teacher of mine, is that the person you are in the studio is the person you are outside of the studio.
Yeah.
If you're lazy and lackadaisical, if you don't put enough effort into the dance and into the stuff that you love doing, you're going to do the same thing with school.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I make sure that they understand what that means. And I tell them, like, you know, your schoolwork comes first, but that doesn't mean that one should be sacrificed for the other. You know, make sure you're here on time, do the dancing, do whatever it is that you have to do, and also do your schoolwork, take care of your responsibilities, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, my students are doing well in school, and they're doing good in my programs too. So I haven't had any issues with that with any of my students.
Wow. So
far. Some of the parents have come and told me that they were really happy with how my students are handling the responsibility, the stress of dancing, whether they're in the crew or just taking regular classes.
Okay. All right. So now, with your school now, do you have anything upcoming, performances or tours, or is there anything that you're working on achieving? Like, are you building a new studio, floors, anything like that?
I have recently, actually this semester, been renovating the studio myself. I changed the floor.
Really?
Like 5% of it by myself, from a marley floor to a wood floor.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I've repainted the studio. I'm doing a lot of things. We're working on getting merchandise, so we're going to have clothes and things, even from pens, whatever, book bags. We're going to have Wi-Fi in the studio, maybe a TV and a computer in there. So we're definitely trying to upgrade the studio so it's even more comfortable for students to want to be there.
Yeah.
So it can be more like a second home to these students, you know. In that city, it's really small, and I want them to feel comfortable.
Right.
Yeah, so I have that small town feel in the studio too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it updated, keep it nice and fresh, but still cozy at the same time.
Wow.
You know,
okay.
And then eventually, the major goal would be eventually to get a bigger studio.
Sure. Well, I'm bringing that up, and I asked you that question because one of the main features for Davie Media members, and as a thank you for doing this interview. Not that we're done yet. You have a few minutes, yeah?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, as a thank you for doing this interview, we have a feature that I'm very proud of called Funding Plus. All right. And what that really means is every
Okay.
member who's a member of Davy Media Members, which now you are and Passion is. So we will set up a section on the website, right on the homepage, where anyone who can see the great work that you're doing and is excited about what you're doing, can directly donate through this feature, and that money that comes through goes directly to you in your studio.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
we're going to be setting that up for you this weekend, and of course we'll make sure that everyone has the link, and everyone has a link to your website and to this website, and we'll be promoting it for the next 6 to 8 weeks, and then longer, especially if the excitement is there. We'll be promoting it through our blog articles, through a number of different features, as a thank you, and because you're doing such great work, you're showing your passion. You know, you're
Right.
not just doing a business to make money. Clearly, the way you're speaking, you're talking about the lives of your students and how well they're doing, and you want to provide them a home away from home, something that I think that we're lacking sorely here in the States. So, I mean,
Mm.
hats off to you, and to what you're doing. Um,
Thank you.
um,
Thank you.
so now I know I cut you off because at one point I did ask you, are there any events or anything coming up?
Um, the dance crew is going to have a little like a fundraiser on the 19th of December, so
Okay,
we can get money for them to get hoodies and things like that,
okay,
and for trips. There's a big competition.
right,
Actually, Just a Booth is coming up again in the end of January, and I would like to be able to pay for them all to come and watch, even if they're not going to compete,
right.
because I want them to experience dance on a bigger level than just what's in the small city of Helsingborg.
Right, right. Wow. So everybody listen, anyone who's watching this video, please don't be shy. Okay? We'll have a donation button. We'll make it as easy, as simple as possible for you to donate any sum that you like, whatever's comfortable for you, right? Does that make sense? W
Absolutely, you know, it's $1 or whatever. I'll take it.
Listen,
That,
your contributions go a long way towards helping people in the arts. As you know, it's sorely missing here in the States and around the world, and these people deserve. They work really, really hard. Most people don't realize how hard dancers work and train. Yeah.
no, they do not. They do not
You have to.
understand, and that's why it's upsetting to a lot of when you become an entrepreneur, when you understand the business of dance, why you have to turn down work sometimes because
Mm,
people don't want to pay you enough for the amount of work that they want for you to do.
yeah,
You have to say, you know what? No, sorry, you're not paying me enough. I can't
yeah,
take that. Or why don't you come teach here? For how much? No, no
yeah.
way.
So let's talk about that for a minute because I think that that's really important. I know as a consultant, someone who's consulted and coached and counseled hundreds of professionals in all fields, right? I know that in many fields, especially freelancers, uh, people who do website design or graphic design, people like yourself, dancers, actors, singers, right,
Yeah,
tend to take on jobs often that don't pay or pay very, very, very little. And sometimes they do it
right.
because, as you know, right, they do it because they want to build up their resume, stuff like that.
Exposure. Yeah,
Or get exposure, right? So what do you have to say about that, and what do you think? How do you think things should be, and how do you see it?
yeah. Well, I mean, coming from, I remember doing stuff like that myself. Oh, can you do this dance for free at our gig? It's a great gig. There'll be a lot of people there, and it'll be great exposure for you, even though we can't pay you.
Yeah,
And at first you're like, oh, great, yeah, there's people watching, yay, wonderful. But then the people watching aren't gonna know who the hell you are. They're
hmm,
not gonna book you for anything.
right,
The people watching like, oh, that was great, thanks, great show. The people who are coming to watch are paying.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
they're coming to pay. You can get paid. It's that simple. You're putting in hours of rehearsal and training, creativity and brain power into putting on a show for somebody.
Yeah.
You know, that person is getting paid who's putting on the show.
Yeah.
So why aren't you getting paid? Because you're just as important as the person who was putting together the show.
Yeah.
And people have to realize their viability in what they do. I get it. If you're a beginner, fine. Maybe you won't get as paid as someone who's a master, so to speak, at what they do.
Right.
That makes sense. Like even personal trainers, fine. The beginning personal trainer who's only been doing it for 3 months,
true,
maybe they don't get paid as much an hour, but they still get paid.
Yes.
Not chump change. Get paid for your rehearsals and get paid for the show. And if the show is far away, get your transportation.
Okay. So very good points. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
You're going to do a show, hypothetically, you're doing a show that's going to happen 6 weeks, 8 weeks from now, something like that. You have your crew that you're going to do the show with. Mm-hmm. Give us an example of how many hours a day, how many days a week would you be training and rehearsing for a show like that?
On average, what are you talking about, the crew at my school? Or
well, like let's say, I'll give an example. I've seen you perform many times, right? And I've seen you put on these performances at clubs and different venues around theaters, things like that. And I know that I've seen you set up situations where you had a dance troupe that you're going to do the choreography, and you guys were going to go and start rehearsing for the show that was going to last 15 minutes, let's say. So for a 15-minute show.
For a 15-minute show, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. Give us an example of how much work that is. Like how many hours, how many days, roughly, Let the world know that you guys are actually doing this thing.
If you want a good show,
for
15 minutes, you're rehearsing at least 3 to 4 times a week for at least 2 hours a week.
Right.
So you're doing at least 8 hours a week, at least, depending on the level of the dancers, for like a month.
Right.
So that's at least 30 some odd hours worth of rehearsal time.
Yeah.
If not more.
Yeah.
Depending when you start getting closer to the show, if they aren't quite right, then you add on some more. If you want to actually put on a show that's not last minute, like, oh, the show's Monday and it's like Wednesday, you're like, oh, okay. But if you know ahead of time, you're putting in at least 40 hours of straight rehearsal time. And then that counts for you having to pay for space.
Wow.
Dance studios aren't free, so you have to find a place where you can rehearse. Most of the time, especially in New York, you have to rent a studio. Yeah. And that's not cheap either.
Right.
So all that money is coming out of these dancers' pockets, and then you have to get something back in return.
Yeah. Wow. So that's a lot. I mean, you guys are training like athletes, basically.
Exactly. Well, yeah, dancers are athletes.
Yeah. So
and artists at the same time. So we need money for food. We need money for nutrition. We need money to stay in shape. Money to get to where we have to go.
Yeah.
So that's very expensive.
Yeah. Well, I would say then, having been a freelancer, once upon a time dancer myself, we won't go there. Speak a little bit about that. Like, in other words, I know, like, say for example, if I was a graphic designer, part of the problem I have as a graphic designer, if I were, is that maybe I charge as an expert at what I do. I'm world class at what I do, right? And so maybe I'm charging $85 an hour to do what I'm doing, or $120 an hour to do what I'm doing. Yeah. Amazing logos, things like that. And these companies will pay that, and they go on and make millions partly because of that branding that this graphic designer did. Okay. But then what happens is many times you have other graphic designers who will go and take a job for $10 an hour. And you have the majority of them. Yeah, exactly. I'm loving your face right there. You understand what I'm saying? So speak to dancers a little bit about that, and how maybe, how do you think it really should be? In other words, I'm editorializing a little bit here, if that's a word.
I think so, but we'll take it.
But you know, the idea that, listen, professionals, if you're a professional, stop taking subpar work because you make it worse for everybody else who's trying to make a living. I mean,
Exactly.
if you're a dancer, a professional dancer, shouldn't you make a decent living doing what you're doing? I mean, kind of a stupid
Yeah.
question. Okay. I know, having gone to a bunch of your performances, I've seen venues that had five, 600, 1,000 people in there. And the bar
Right.
was open, and the people were at the bar, and people were paying tickets at the door to come and watch performances that you're in.
Hmm. And
And
not getting up.
there you go. So, and that's the reason why I was bringing it up, for you to talk a little bit about that, and how people should, you know, really focus in on that you guys are professionals, that it's not just, when people think street dance or urban styles, I mean, do you find that today's day and age that they look at it the same way they used to look at it when I was coming up? In other words, when I was coming up, they looked at street dance as kids outside in the corner on the street, in the park, on cardboard boxes spinning on their heads, right?
Yeah.
For some change. How far has street styles or urban styles come?
Uh, um, Honestly, not much further than that. It's people. It's more well known now,
Mm,
and it's more accepted because it's more of a norm now since like 2000, like two or three. You know, all these movies like Step Up
right,
and
right.
movies like that that came up. So it made a big dance boom. So people, everyone sees it. You know, little kids see it on YouTube. Blah blah blah. But as far as the respect for that dance and the work that goes into training for it, that hasn't changed at all.
Uh,
You know, we're still just entertainers. We're still just dancing monkeys for people.
wow,
You know,
wow.
we'll still just say, hey, so I'm having a birthday party. Can you get some of your friends and put like a 10-minute show together? I'm like, oh, okay, sure. How much? No, but it's just for a birthday party. I'm
Yeah.
still putting in the work. What you mean? I don't care it is your mama's birthday.
Right,
Like,
right, right.
I'm still working for this.
Amazing.
So what you want for a show and what you want to pay for is what you get,
Yeah,
and that's how it should be. If you want to pay me $50 and give me dinner for me to perform for 3 minutes,
yeah,
sure. But then I'm not gonna do any choreography. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna freestyle my ass off and call it a day.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not gonna do anything prior to that. All I'm gonna do is send you the music that I want, or
yeah,
bring it my damn self, and that's what's gonna go. If you want a 10-minute straight choreography, more than one person, a knockout show, then you're gonna pay me some money.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah. I hear you.
that's simple.
I hear you. Well, listen, everybody. I hope everybody's paying attention to this, because it is a really important thing. There are so many world class, amazing, sick dancers like Jackhammer here, all over the world, doing it, blood, sweat, and tears every day, all day. You know, they eat, sleep, and drink this thing, and they're, you know, entertaining thousands, tens of thousands of people all over the world. People are loving it. They're putting smiles on people's faces. In some cases, they're giving people whole new lives. And I think that they absolutely deserve and are worth being paid appropriately for that. Um,
Absolutely.
so now, Jack, what else do you have? Do you have anything coming up for yourself personally, dance wise?
Uh, just just a boo again
Okay,
in the end of January,
okay,
January 31st, I believe.
okay,
Here in Scandinavia, there's going to be a big competition in Denmark.
okay.
Um, it's the Nordic qualifiers of just a boo. So I'm going to compete in that.
Hmm.
Other than that, just small battles around just to keep myself sharp and also try to win.
Yeah,
And yeah, but as far as that's concerned, for the Christmas season, that's about the only thing I have focused on in the near future.
yeah, yeah,
Then
yeah.
there's Street Star Festival, which is in Stockholm, which is a big dance event um, in the middle of Sweden, so to speak. And that's kind of like Just a Boo. It's just really big here in Scandinavia only, though. and that should also be pretty good. It's a really big dance competition. You can have crew battles, you can have 1-on-1, 2-on-2, that kind of thing.
Oh wow. Okay. How's your body holding up?
Oof. I remember I was happy when I was even when I was 27. I felt the difference from where I am right now.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
it's getting there. I mean, I'm working out a lot and trying to stay fit, but
Yeah.
it gets tougher and tougher. But I'm
Right.
still I still got my Elmer's glue and
Now I know you have hundreds of videos, yeah? Of you
yeah,
teaching, dancing yourself. You want to give everybody a YouTube channel so people can
yeah.
check you out?
It's and simple. This is youtube.com/Jackhamah. That's Jakhamah.
All right. Say that one more time so everybody gets it, but I'll make sure that we put it in the links below. That's youtube.com/Jackhammer.
Yes,
Spell it
it's
again.
spelled Jakham as in Mary AH.
All right, everybody. Everybody check out his YouTube page. It's pretty hot. Subscribe to it. You know what I mean? Post your thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Keep doing them. Um,
I'm also
uh,
on Instagram too, same name.
Go
It's
ahead.
Jackhammer.
Jackhammer for Instagram. Outstanding, outstanding. All right. Anything else you want to share with us?
And Passion Dance Studio also on Instagram.
And
Check them out. I post a lot of videos from classes and from students there too, so you can see what the school is about. You can see the renovations that I was doing on that school,
oh,
and that I'm
nice.
still currently doing now. So
Okay.
just so you can see, it's a general update of what's happening in my school. Check out our Instagram as well, and we also have a page on Facebook, Passion Dance Studio.
Oh, outstanding. So everybody check them all out. Check them out often. We're also going to be asking and hoping that Shannon, excuse me, Jackhammer, become a regular contributor here to Debut Media members. Um, and we look forward to seeing some more of him in the near future. And any shout outs?
Just you know what, a big shout out to this dance crew that I'm a part of, Black Benji, trying to make a big change in the social scene in
Okay.
dance here, trying to work with the community here, and just to all the dancers that I work with out here in Sweden, and back to all my mentors back home, Brian Green, Link, Ejo, all you guys, all my house heads, Miss Shaw, and yeah, everybody else is just in the struggle and really trying to get it in
Yeah.
hard with
Yeah.
this with their art, whether it's singing, dancing, whether you're making sculptures out of wire hangers, doesn't matter. I shout out to you because the struggle is real, but keep it up.
All right, man. Well, thanks again for joining us. And again, we'll see you again here real soon. And I hope to see you in New York in about a month or so. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. Speak to you soon.
Holler.
All right.